It's no shock injuries were an issue for the Milwaukee Bucks last season, losing Dame to an Achilles injury as well as Giannis. But what can injuries mean for the Milwaukee Bucks going into next season as we're looking in the offseason? I'm Jake Finnerty, and welcome on into Bucks Digest. If you want to keep it locked on all things Milwaukee Bucks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Injuries, you hate to see them, no matter what it is, usually other teams, but specifically on your team. You never want to see any guy on your squad get an injury, especially a guy that's going to provide you a great deal of offense, defense, one of your star players. Because let's throw it back to last year when you lose Giannis to an Achilles injury right before the playoffs. This team is in prime position to be the 2 seed and really go on a run in the East. Compete with the Celtics, try and make that finals run yet again. You'll see Giannis and Dame in their first playoff atmosphere together. And you don't get that because you lose Giannis in May, and you can never predict these things. But really, what I think is relieving from this is Giannis is already back playing basketball. And this is kind of where we're going to be heading today, is looking at the potentials of what can linger going into next year. Luckily, I don't think this Achilles injury is going to be lingering anytime soon, folks, because Giannis has been balling. He's been playing for Team Greece. He played in the Olympic qualifiers. Greece is qualified for the Olympics for the first time since 2008. Giannis is leading them there. But Giannis just playing against Serbia in their most recent game, scoring 17, 6 rebounds, 4 assists on 58% field goal shooting. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid matchup. I think it's a pretty solid performance. It's good to see him get the ball up. It's good to see him playing basketball because, frankly, the Bucks are going to need it. You know Giannis is the best, one of, if not the best player in the world. And to see him not missing a beat after an Achilles injury, he actually came back like a month after his surgery, and that's very promising. But there's some people on this team I'm a bit skeptical of when it comes to injuries. And they're dealing with some injuries right now, which kind of makes me pump the brakes. What are we going to be looking at going into next year? What are we going to be looking at going into training camp? It's a long season, of course. But what is their status going to be come time to hit the floor? Come time where it matters. Now, the first one, Andre Jackson suffering an injury in the summer league. You can see here, successful surgery to repair a fracture of his left third finger that occurred in Tuesday's summer league game versus the Clippers. Full participant in training camp. He'll be back. And I think this is huge. I think this is huge for Ajax in general. You saw towards the end of the year, Ajax getting some of those reps because, of course, you have a hole. You have a hole when you're missing Giannis. Ajax being a guy who likely is going to have a big opportunity this year because you need depth at that wing position. Sure, you bring in Gary Trent as your sharpshooter. We've talked about it millions of times. You have a lot of guys at that position. Ajax going into his third year, or his second year, I should say. This is going to be big for him because you got an athletic guy in Ajax. You're hoping to have some promise with him as well. Sure, it's a fractured finger. He was shut down. He had surgery. They didn't want to see him play in the summer league anymore. That's even more of a look at what the team is seeing with him. They want to see him play well. They want to see him in this rotation. They want to see him get more minutes because towards the end of last year was getting more minutes on the floor. You saw him in 57 games last year as well. Ajax is going to be a big question mark for this team, as are a lot of these young guys. AJ Johnson, what's going to happen with Marjon Beauchamp? Is he in the lineup or not? Those three, I think, are really big ones. Tyler Smith as well. Talking injuries-wise, Ajax, huge. Because, yes, it may be a finger, but take it with, if it's your shooting hand, what's going to happen with your shot when you come back. Let's hope. Not going to stress out too much about that one. It's his hand. It's his finger. He'll be back. He's ready. I want to see him get some reps. But here's the guy that really is concerning to me. And that's a guy that we've seen have some injury issues over the past couple of years that kind of needs to show it on the floor when he's there. And that's Chris Middleton. Not kind of. He does need to show it on the floor. Chris Middleton got surgeries on both of his ankles, basically because he was dealing with ankle injuries all season. Or, ankle uncomfort all season. This is an issue. Chris Middleton is your third option. There's no doubt about that. He's your third option now that you have Dame. You take a little bit of weight off of him, signing Gary Trent. Brook Lopez is solid, can get you a bucket when you need it. Who knows how long he'll be around because of all the trade rumors. Chris Middleton has not been the same since the finals run. Truthfully. As much as it pains me to say and as much as it pains me to see, because of that knee injury he had 2 years ago. Having an ankle injury too, once you start messing with your legs in basketball, I'm just going to put it out there right now, folks. This is not a good sign. This is not a good sign because Middleton, looking at stats even, just has not been close to the same player that we've seen since that 2020-21 season. Even the 22 season. Putting up 20 points a game. Granted, averaging more games because of the wear and tear. Averaging more games a year. He only played 33 games in 22-23. He averaged 15 points in that stretch. Solid. At that time, he was the number 2 option. At that time, he was Giannis' hand man. You go in 2023-24, he's putting up the same stats, but now you don't need as much offensive liability on him. It's a good role for him to be in. But again, 27 minutes a game, 55 games. My concern with Chris Middleton is the consistency factor. If you need him to be your consistent number 3, you need him to be consistently on the floor. You need him to be consistently putting up solid points. Because Giannis and Dame can't do it alone. And you need him to truthfully just step up. He had those surgeries. He's supposed to be back, which is a good sign. But a bad sign is that he has all of these injuries lingering since then. It's not good. But I think the addition of Gary Trent, all of these things that are going on within the Bucks, with Doc Rivers trying to get this team towards, they don't want to rely on a guy outside of Giannis or Dame. They want to have options. They got options. But these injuries are going to be a big factor going into this year because how are they going to carry over? How are they going to linger? Who's going to be stepping up in training camp and taking on these roles if these guys aren't ready? Comment down below who you think will be stepping up or who you think is an injury concern of these 3. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay locked on Bucks Digest.